I'm Sarah Neer. I'm the Assistant Dean of MBA Admissions here at the Darden School of Business. I have actually been here for over 5 years, or about 5 years now, and I'm really excited to be a part of this process and to have watched the exciting things that have happened at Darden over the last 5 years, but even more so as we get ready to reappoint our dean, what's going to happen over the next 5 years. It's a rare thing to have a 10-year dean in the business school world, and we are really excited about the fact that Bob is willing and eager to stay on and lead our school into the next phase of its development. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we think makes Darden's full-time program special, and then I'm also going to tell you a little bit about what's coming in the future for the school as a whole. So considering you came all the way here today, you might get a little bit of insider information that is not all out on the web. And the same is true with the application process. So again, you made the journey here. I'm going to give you some tips. First, what do I think makes Darden special? It's really kind of three things that come together and make what we think is a complete leader. And we hope that's what you want to be as applicants and as future business professionals. So those three things are the case method, the faculty that we have here, and the community that we're all together with. So the first is the case method. You'll visit class today, you'll see it in action. Try to be present and be not just observing the actual discussion that's going on, but take a step back, imagine yourself in it, and also imagine how you might learn over an entire 2 years worth of being in it. It is participatory, it is active, it is discussion-based, but the most important part is that you learn from each other. We are looking to find students to be in the classroom with you that you will want to learn from. People with experiences in industries you don't even know exist. That happens for me when I read applications. I find that things that people do that I didn't even know was out there. That you'll learn from their experiences with other cultures, with other parts of the United States, with other activities outside of work. And so all of the things that make you you are important to us in the application process because they should be important to you in the classroom. So the case method. The second thing is the faculty, and our faculty are ranked very highly for their teaching. You'll see that in a lot of the publications, but today you'll get to see that in action, and if you look at our website you can also see case method videos and go watch it later on to sort of reflect on it. But the case method faculty are involved in leading your conversation to the outcome that will make you learn the most. But more so, they need to learn who you are, what makes you strong, so that they can draw that out of you, and because they want to get to know you and be mentors for you in the future. They don't have office hours. They're here from 8 to 5, and you can wander the faculty office building and pop in and ask any of them, even if they're not your professor, what they're working on, to help you with a decision analysis problem. They're all really open, and I know I can say that. You're going to have to see it for yourself to believe me, but they are very involved. And that goes double for the staff. We're all very involved. A couple weeks ago, the National Association of Women MBAs chapter here had an auction to benefit SHE, which is a battered women's shelter here in town, and they put on a Dancing with the Darden Stars competition. There are pictures on the web if you want to see. Faculty and staff paired with current students and took several weeks of ballroom dancing lessons. Then they performed in front of 400 people, students, faculty, and staff from the community that came to the fundraiser, and I was a judge. It was very fun. But more importantly, the fact that faculty would spend weeks of dance lessons with students and then perform in front of the entire community, I think speaks volumes for how invested they are in the students' lives and in the fact that we have this great community. So that segues nicely into my community point, which is you choose to come to Charlottesville because you want to get to know the people you're going to go to school with. It is a wonderful place to be for 2 years. You can't do all we have to offer in 2 years. From the vineyards to the sporting events to the concerts. I saw Lady Gaga this fall. Not in an egg, but it was still exciting. And at the same time, you will do all of those things with your classmates. You will build bonds with them and with the faculty and staff that will last the rest of your life. So be sure to reach out to our alumni and ask them if that's true. Test me on that. We have alumni ambassadors on our website that you can reach out to. We also have events going on across the world this spring and more so in the fall and early or late summer. So please come out and interact with our alumni and test me out, see if I'm true. So case method, faculty, and community, and those things together will make you ready for anything. Anything you could do in your job, not just your first career right out of school. We're going to teach you how to make decisions, do the analysis that you might need to do in your first job out of school, but that's not all it's going to be about. It's your career. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on new at Darden. We do have a new degree program, in fact, the Global MBA for Executives. If anyone wants to learn more about that, we can talk about that. We're very excited to now have 2 executive format degrees, one that meets here once a month, and then one that this new global one will meet 2 weeks at a time across the entire world over the 21 months. So all 3 programs start in August and end in May, 2 years later, and receive the same diploma. But what I'm really excited about for you to know about the Global MBA for Executives is it's become a real catalyst for our faculty and our school to be more globally minded across the entire enterprise. What do I mean by that? So I was just talking to Ron Wilcox, who's on our marketing faculty. He's going to teach in the new global program. He's writing a new case right now on a product that Kraft launched in Asia that they thought would be a real hit because it was such a hit in the rest of the world, and then found out, oops, not so much. And you'll learn all sorts of things because that case now will be brought into the full-time classroom. And the students we expect to have in some of these executive programs, maybe at a more senior level where they're making decisions now that you want to be making in your future, and they will write cases with us, and we'll have those cases as well. So a lot of excitement. Plus, we'll just have a lot of learnings about being in a market for 2 weeks at a time, like Brazil or India, that when our students are there and the staff is there, we'll be able to bring that knowledge back to the full-time program. So we're really excited about that launch, and excited about what it means for our global presence going forward. Lots of investments being made, and I think you'll see us out and about a lot more even than you have in the last couple of years. So that's very exciting. What we really want to know from you, as I've said today, is not just what you've done, but who you are. So as you're working on your application, be sure to take us seriously when we have spaces for you to talk about your community experiences. When we're asking you in the essays about your personal leadership style, we really want you to think deeply about who you are, what you want to accomplish in life, and that doesn't just mean in the workplace. So as you're thinking about that, the same would be true if you're going to be interviewing with us at some point and you've already applied. The interview is an opportunity for you, again, to tell us who you are as a whole person. We often expect people to start and tell us about a lot of things about their life, and they want to just talk about their current position at their job. And that really doesn't tell us what we need to know to really evaluate you well, but also to see if we want you to be part of our community for the rest of your life. So be certain to not be so focused on your work. And that's sort of my tip for today. Experiential learning is a big part of the case method because what we're asking you to do every day is really put yourself in the shoes of someone else and imagine that. But most of the time it happens through a conversation. But when I say case method, every area also has simulations. And those are much more experiential. So in operations, you might build something with Legos. In marketing, you might do a multi-day simulation, which actually they're going to be doing later this spring. And so those are very important ways to get you out of what you think and see what you would actually do in a situation. Those are very important parts of the curriculum. In addition, this year, the part of the schedule restructure, which you may have heard about or read about, was kind of twofold to give bigger blocks of time for different things. In the fall, that block of time is about recruiting. So a full week where you're not doing classes in October to spend time on your resume, your interview prep, your research on companies, attend briefings and meet people from those companies, test it out, see if that's what you want to do while you're not distracted by your homework, right? So that was a great change. That seems to have gone extraordinarily well this fall. By all indicators right now, the first years are getting jobs at really high rates. I don't know if it's all correlated to that week off, but because I happen to think they're pretty great. But I think it contributed. So in the spring, what that extra block of time is going to be used for is a capstone experience, a week-long activity that will be completely experiential as part of the leading organizations area. So our leadership course area. I can't tell you any more than that because the students don't know what they're going to do yet. But it's going to be exciting, real life experience, and check back in May and see how it went. But that I think will be a lot of fun. Over spring break, we've now made both the first and second year spring breaks 2 weeks long so that students can do our global business experiences to any part of the world they want to choose. It used to be that first years could only do shorter ones, and now they all get to be longer and more comprehensive. Those are really about seeing how business is done in a particular part of the world. So you will go with a faculty member. You will have some coursework time. You will get credit for the experience, like course credit, and then you will also interact with our alumni in the region. You'll visit companies. You'll kind of do a whole host of activities while you're in country. And then there's time on kind of either end for you to do more of the touristy things outside of whatever city you've chosen. We did have a GBE going to Egypt this year. They went to Egypt last year. We had to cancel that one because of the State Department decisions there. It's one part of being a public school. When the State Department says no, we say no. So that's how that goes. But they're still going to Barcelona and China and Argentina and Brazil and all sorts of places around the world. So the majority of our students do one or two of those in their time here, and those are really great experiences. You can also do exchanges for a quarter or a semester, but that's much less common than the GBE's global business experiences. In terms of teams, there's kind of two things that happen. And one of the things that I really love about Darden is that the majority of time you spend in team in your first year is not graded. So when you arrive, you're assigned to both a section, so a 65-person group that you're going to be doing your cases with every day, and a learning team. And that's going to be 5 or 6 people. Those people are going to be people from different industries, different backgrounds, different undergraduate majors, so that if you don't have experience in accounting, somebody in your learning team does, and they can help you there. This is for you to, we think it's much more like the real world. You know, you have a team of people, you each have different strengths, you need to work together to do your work faster and better, but if you don't, the only person whose grade it's going to affect is you, because there's not a grade for how well you do as a learning team. The grades are how well you do in your section. And you're spread out across the sections. So what it does is the night before, you'll read your cases on your own, you'll come together, you'll work together, and then you'll say, all right, you know, I really have learned from Keith and Josh and Bob and Julie. I'm going to go to class the next day, and as the discussion is going, you go, oh my gosh, Julie's idea here is really what we need to move the case forward. And because it was the things you talked about in your learning team, you can bring it forward in your class. It's all of your ideas because you learned from each other. And Julie may be bringing it up in her section, right? And so it really accelerates your learning. It really supports you in the areas where you're not as strong and is much more like a team you might have at work. So that's how most of the teams work in the first year. And then when you get to the electives at the end of the first year and in the second year, you might have more what you would call a traditional group project, but I would not say that's the primary mode of learning, even in the second year. We just don't think that group projects and the way they are constructed with grades just aren't as good of examples of how you might work in real life. At Darden, that's going to happen most often in your second year. It'll happen some in your first year. Happens the first week of school. You'll do a case that somebody's working on, and a CEO will come talk to you about that case. But in the second year, we have a whole set of electives you can choose from that are called either hot topics in finance, hot topics in marketing, or live action cases, so general managers taking action, things with action in them. Those courses are all designed around guest speakers who are Darden alumni and who are C-level folks who will come and talk with you about, today in my company, I'm having this issue, how would you solve it? And then they might come back and tell you what happened, or they might send you an email and tell you what happened later on, or they might give you one that happened a month ago and tell you what happened. But those courses in the electives are especially designed to, after you've gotten the core in your first year and you've got all the business concepts, in the second year, it's to connect you again with what's happening in business that you're going to go back to, that you're about to sort of go back out to. And so we want to bring you whatever's happening, and those courses may change during the course of the semester. They certainly did during the economic difficulties of a couple of years ago, both good and bad. We had somebody from Lehman Brothers, and the week that they collapsed, well, he had to cancel. So he no longer existed as a company. But we had new people step right in and say, you know, wow, I'm in the mortgage business and now this is happening. So we have a great array of really wonderful Darden alumni to choose from. They are always willing to come back and teach in class, and so that's how we do a lot of that kind of real life learning. But there are the capstone project and some of those other things are ways that you would get to interact with things going on right now outside of Darden, but I can't tell you as much about that.
Darden Business Project?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. So Darden business projects are like independent study. You can do them to write a case with somebody. You can do them to go work with a faculty member who's doing consulting in a company and work on a company's real problem. And that is also how opportunity consultants work. That's a student-run consulting operation that you can do as a student. And you might go out into the community in teams of 3 or 4 and try to help a local business or a not-so-local business with an issue that they're having. So those are not, as the business projects are for credit, the opportunity consultants is a club. Just like the rest of the University of Virginia, all of our clubs are student self-governed, so they have their own structure for leadership, for fundraising, for all of that kind of stuff, and for running conferences. It's very important to us that you, while you're in school, get real-life practical activities, and as you start to come, if you get admitted to Darden and come to our admitted student events, you'll see our student admissions committee, and they are running those events completely. They have a budget, they make the choices, they bring in the sponsors, they bring in the speakers, all of that.